Okay, good morning. Today we are continuing to work with our data and we're starting to work with graphs. Yesterday we did mean, median, and mode. Now we're starting to see different types of graphs. Today we are doing CO61, interpreting and creating bar graphs and line graphs. So we're starting off with graphs that we have seen before. So it's going to be a little bit easier because we're more aware of what these graphs are about. So first we have a bar graph. A bar graph is a type of graph in which the lengths are used to represent and compare data. So the lengths of our bars is what we use to compare our data. Bar graphs focus on how many of something. This is important for us to know. We're going to be learning different types of graphs, and each graph we use for a different reason. So underline, circle, star, do something to set that how many off. So we know if we want to know how many there are of things, we look to the bar graph. The x-axis is a thing instead of a number. So on these graphs, we still have our x-axis and our y-axis. So we still have those like we had when we were graphing on our graph charts. Now we're looking at it with a different type of graph. So here's an example of a bar graph showing the number of days of snow. It snowed from December to March. And we can see that we have our labels. What are these words down below? They are months. What are these numbers going up the side? They are the number of days of snow. So remember, we've seen it in our math packets, the importance of labeling our x and y axis so we know what those numbers represent. We know what it is, the things on the bottom. This time it's months. So we're going to use this graph to answer our questions. Which month had the most days of snow? Maddie? February. We can answer that just by looking at our chart. February has the tallest bar, so that's the easiest answer to fill in. I'm going to have you read the rest of the questions yourself to answer those questions. I'm going to erase and scroll up so we can see how to create our own bar graph. On the bottom it says collect data from your classmates and create a bar graph showing how many students have a birthday in each month of the year. Oh boy. So we need to figure out, first thing we're going to do is we're going to figure out how many have in each month of the year. January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, and December. So, how many of us in here have a January birthday? Raise your hand. So we have 0 in January. How many have a February birthday? And I have a February birthday, so that's 2 of us. How many have a March birthday? That's 1, 2, 3. How many have an April birthday? 1, 2, 3, 4. How many have a May birthday? 1, 2. How many have a June birthday? 1, 2, 3.
Raise your hand.
What?
Okay, what's his name?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 Junes. How many Julys? 1, 2. How many August? 0 August. How many September? 0.
No, me.
Okay, thank you, Nolan. 1 September. How many October? 1 October. How many November? 1, 2, 3. And December. 1, 2, 3. All right, so we are going to make our graph. So the first thing we do is we draw our X and Y axis. Now we have to think of all the different things we need to put on this. First thing we want to do is a title for our graph. What would be the title? James?
Birthdays. Number of birthdays.
In our class, because it's not, we want to be a little more specific. So birthdays in our class. What are we going to put on the x-axis? What should we put down there, Emma?
Months.
Months. And then we're gonna actually put our months. September, no, not September, January. The year starts in January. So January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. So there are 12 months. I'm just putting that first letter. You could write out the name if you want, that's fine. I just put the first letter just to keep it simple. What should we put on the left side, on the y-axis? Adeline?
Number of people.
Number of people, number of classmates. And then we want to number. How high up do we need to go with our numbers? 5. So I'm gonna do 1, 2. You want them to be spaced apart about the same distance. We only have to go up to 5 because our highest number was 5. So January, we had 0. February, we had 2. So we go up 2. March, we have 3. So they don't, when it's a bar graph, the bars do not touch. They're separate from each other. April is 4. May was 2. June is 5. July is 2. August is 0. September is 1. October is 1. November is 3. And December is 3. So now that, once you have your bars drawn, it's easy to read to answer those questions. So it's definitely easy to see which month had the most, which had the fewest. There can be ties, so you'd have to list the fewest. If there's ties, list them all. Count up how many students were surveyed, how many of us were in the room today. Which of the 4 seasons has the most birthdays? So think about those seasons. So for seasons, we have, winter would start with November. No, sorry, winter starts with December. So December to February is winter. winter. March to May is spring. June to August is summer. And September to November is fall. So those are the months that fall in each of those seasons. So you're gonna have to answer that question, which of the seasons has the most birthdays? Okay, I need to erase this so we can look at our second page to see what a line graph is all about. So let's look at the second page for the line graph. So you're gonna finish writing down your, you're gonna finish the bar graph later. So turn your page to the second page. A line graph is a type of graph in which parts representing data pairs are connected by line segments. So in a bar graph, we made bars. In a line graph, we're gonna be drawing what looks like a line. It's actually line segments. Doesn't go on forever, so there are line segments. Important to note, line graphs focus on the value of something. Bar graphs focus on how many. Line graphs are focusing on the value. So here's an example of a line graph showing Russell's, whoever that is, height over time. So we can see his height at 3-year intervals. So his age at 0, at 3, at 6, at 9, at 12. Going up the y-axis is the height. How tall is he in feet? So it tells us what that measurement is. How tall was Russell at age 3? We look at when he was 3 years old. We come up here and we see that he was 2 feet. You can't just leave it at 2. We have to put a label because we don't know how, if I just said 2, what? 2 miles, 2 inches? How tall was he?
For the definition, after the word which, what is that?
Parts.
Oh,
Sorry, I read that wrong. That doesn't make sense. Which points? That should be points. That was my bad. I went too quick. So you're just gonna read those questions and use that line graph that's given to be able to answer the questions. So really think about that. The x-axis is the age, the y-axis is the height in feet. Answer those questions the best that you can. The bottom one is a little more confusing. We need to create our own line graph. So it says below is a table showing the average high and low temperatures for Minnesota from 1945 to 2022. Use it to create a line graph. We are actually going to make 2 line graphs. One that shows the highs and one that shows the lows. Okay, so just like when we created one for the birthdays, you want to give yourself a title. You want to label what's on the bottom. You want to label what goes up the left. Then you're going to plot each one of these. So for January, it was 24, so you would put a point there. So if this is January, if this is where the 24 is, you would put a point. Then you would go to February 29, or it was 29. So if this was my 29, I'd go up here and I would connect my points to make that line segment. Do all the highs do your line for that. Then do all the lows, so you will end up with, this is the 10 and this is 14. You will end up with 2 different lines, showing the highs and then showing the lows. So do all of the highs first, so you end up with whatever it looks like. Then do your lows. So you're gonna have 2 different lines. So you'll have your high line and you'll have your low line. Don't try plotting the points all at the same time, because you'll get confused which one goes with the highs and which one goes with the lows. So do your highs and then do your lows. And then answer the questions at the bottom. After our specialist time, I'll answer any questions that people have, but we do need to get to specialists now. So if you're watching at home and you have questions, make sure you ask me. Have a wonderful day.